In Florida, the prisons are so crowded, a mugger in for 10 could be out in less than 1. Crazy? Tell us about it. We will Sunday on 60 Minutes.
Nelson, Bunny Bedelia, the story of one family struggle to stay together in a world torn apart by environmental tragedy.
We've been declared a disaster area.
93rd day altered global warming.
The Fire Next Time begins Sunday, April 18th.
CBS.
Hey, homie, you ready to taste the cool? Because now this new cool coat, a new surprise in malt liquor that's just not like anything you've ever experienced before. There's all the smoothness, all the bold flavor you can expect from Colt 45. Now with the refreshing taste of cool, it's just a thing for when you're staying close, you know what I'm saying? So taste the cool, homie. New cool Colt. Peace.
You earn your stripes covering Cleveland's news for 30 years. Cultivate your sources for nearly 20 years. Report its big events for over 7 years. Travel our highways and back roads for over 25 years. And develop the know-how that comes from growing up here and calling this home. Then you can say it. You're Cleveland's news, Cleveland's pride, Cleveland's own News Center 8.
Come see the newest and the most celebrated champions of all time in the Campbell Soup's 1993 tour of World Figure Skating Champions. Babylonian Gardner, Victor Petrenko, The Dujanet, Nancy Kerrigan, Mish Kutunak and Dmitri, Brian Boitano, Torvalin Dean, Jill Trenery, Klamova and Ponomarenko, Oksana Bayul, and many more as Tom Collins presents the greatest figure skaters in the world.
Tickets on sale now at the Coliseum box office, all Ticketmaster locations, and charge by phone from TV8.
We're celebrating, and you're invited. Come to the 10th Annual Free Minority Health Fair, Saturday, April 17th, at the Cleveland Health and Education Museum. Hi, I'm Debbie Kern. The whole family can have their teeth, eyes, blood pressure, and cholesterol checked, plus enjoy special presentations, fabulous kids' activities, and even aerobics. The health fair is funded by the Ohio Commission on Minority Health, so don't miss this day of free screenings and much more. Brought to you by the Delta Sigma Theta sorority and TV8.
Big Chuck and Little John presented Close Range tonight at 11:30.
From Cleveland's own 24-hour newsroom, Dave Buckle, Kelly O'Donnell, John Telich on sports, and Mark Kuntz with weather. This is Cleveland's own News Center 8.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Here's what's happening. The jury in the Rodney King beating trial has retired for the night after deliberating for 2.5 hours late this evening. U.S. District Judge John Davies told them they must base their verdict solely on the evidence and not on what might happen as a result of their decision. During final arguments, the prosecutor, during a viewing of the taped beating, called the policemen bullies with badges who beat King unmercifully. The defense told jurors not to be afraid to acquit the officers, saying the public will understand. The man who has been chosen as the new chief of the NAACP says he intends to travel to South Central Los Angeles within the week. The Reverend Benjamin Chavis hopes to ease away any possible tensions created by the Rodney King case.
And Reverend Chavis arrived back home in Cleveland within the hour. News Center 8's Christy Steves was there, and she joins us now live from Hopkins with the latest. Christy?
Well, Kelly, as you mentioned, the Reverend Benjamin Chavis and his wife flew into Cleveland Hopkins Airport about half an hour ago. They just got back from Atlanta. Chavis isn't wasting any time, already tackling some of the issues he's targeted as priorities for his organization. Now, barely 1 day on the job, and already Chavis has begun work as a new leader of the NAACP.
The issue of getting the economic stimulus plan passed by Congress, the issue of racially motivated police brutality, like in Los Angeles, the issue of health care. I plan to meet with some health care leaders. I'll probably see Hillary Clinton also in this coming week.
Less than 24 hours after being named the new executive director of the NAACP, the Reverend Benjamin Chavis was laying out new directions for the civil rights organization. The Cleveland minister has promised to reach out to younger blacks and to build coalitions with other African American leaders. As a civil rights crusader, Chavis spent 4 years of his life in prison as a member of the so-called Wilmington 10 after being convicted of firebombing a store during racial unrest in the 70s. President of the Cleveland NAACP, George Forbes, says Chavis is the right person to lead the organization because of his civil rights experience.
Here's a man who was trained in civil rights and the techniques of protest. His whole life has been centered around that. He was educated in that particular that field. It brings a new dimension, a great dimension, that he knows where he wants to take the organization. He knows where the organization should be, and he knows the problems that's confronting people this day.
Chavis says he's concerned about racial tension brewing in Los Angeles and the assassination of a senior African National Congress official in South Africa overnight. When he goes to Los Angeles, Chavis hopes to ease the tension that might develop once the verdict is handed down on the 4 police officers accused of unnecessary violence against Rodney King.
We want to make sure that L.A. remains calm, but also we want to be there to demand justice. We feel that it's taken too long for Rodney King to receive justice, and we hope this time that the federal courts would render justice.
Reverend Chavis says he'll be leaving for Los Angeles this coming Tuesday or Wednesday. He says he'll stay there for as long as he's needed. He'll then come back to Cleveland and begin packing for his new job, which is in Baltimore. That's the headquarters for the NAACP, so we'll be losing Reverend Chavis in just a few weeks. This is Christy Steves reporting live for NewsCenter 8 in Cleveland.
Thank you, Christy. The Easter holiday will be solemn and prayerful for a family of the missing Olmsted Falls teenager. An all-day search in Indiana brought no new answers. College student Tricia Reitler has been missing 2 weeks. A caravan made the trip from here early this morning and will come home without success. Reporter Anne-Marie Terranon has more.
This morning, the Cleveland caravan pulls in. Church members offer hugs and support for Donna Reitler and her husband, Gary.
You just be looking for evidence, maybe a piece of paper.
The volunteers are here to comb the outskirts of Marion, looking for the Reitlers' 19-year-old daughter, Tricia, an Indiana Wesleyan co-ed now missing for 12 days.
Check every spot in Grant County is the main goal. Let's just work our way around the little creek here.
Today, in this nearly the second week of the search, volunteers are instructed to take a path and go through just about anything that's in their way to look for clues.
Over railroad tracks, in deserted buildings, and through field after field, Tricia's father, Gary, her brother, and one of her sisters walk solemnly side by side, searching with members of their congregation.
We just love them. You know, we know how much they care for us, and that it's the body of Christ coming together to help somebody who's in need.
Officers recover a pair of women's underwear, but they say it's too soon to know if it's related evidence.
We'll just make sure we check this area real good, and then we'll head on south.
The volunteers don't shy away from checking for a newly dug grave. Whatever is necessary, they say, to find answers.
It's just a waiting and a waiting and a waiting that is just kind of tearing everybody apart.
For now, the family is hesitating to make plans.
Day by day. No more than that, just day by day. We'll take children home for Easter, and then from that point on, we'll just see where the Lord leads us.
In Marion, Indiana, Anne-Marie Tiernan for NewsCenter 8.
In a split second, a man, his 6-year-old son, and his father died when a driver lost control of his truck and crashed through the family's backyard. It happened just outside of Buffalo. Witnesses say the truck was speeding down the nearby highway when it smashed through a guardrail that had just been put up to protect the family's property. Charges are pending against the 19-year-old driver. And sadly, the man's 9-year-old son was in the backyard at the time and witnessed the accident.
President and Mrs. Clinton today attended the second funeral service in as many days for her father, Hugh Rodham, who died last week. This service in the church in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where Mrs. Clinton had been baptized. The service itself was closed to the public, but hundreds of people stood under umbrellas waiting in the pouring rain for a glimpse of the president's motorcade. Following the service and burial in the family plot, the first family then headed to the Camp David retreat in the Catoctin Mountains. When hope is gone and all that is left is faith, millions turn to the mystery of religious icons. Ed Garston takes a look at the phenomenon and whether or not a strong belief can mean the power to heal.
The infirm, the young, the newly diagnosed, they all come to touch the icon of St. Venerius at the Greek Orthodox St. Venerius Church outside Detroit. At least 10,000 hopefuls have come to touch the icon since a mysterious haze was discovered on it 2 years ago.
It gives you a pulsation in the palm of your hand or a tingling feeling on the tips of your fingers.
Icons have been a part of faith for at least 500 years.
They become very important in the lives of the faithful because we cannot see God directly, so to speak. We cannot see the incarnation.
Professor Saliba suggests it isn't so much the true power of the icons, but rather their ability to empower believers that they can be healed.
Indeed, one Greek Orthodox bishop says, if nothing else, the icons bring about a form of self-healing.
And I think that the biggest miracle